Hi everyone, my name is Nora from Pixie Art Studio. I'm a New York-based illustrator, and today we're going to be drawing with crayons. The subject matter for our class is going to be birds. As you can see here, I've drawn many birds for you to be able to use and as representations in our class with crayons. I've broken down everything into steps that are easy to follow and fun to create. Not only will we use birds as our subject matter, but we'll talk about the textures that you can use on the birds with the crayons. So come along and join me and let's have some fun. So in this class, your project will be to follow along step by step and to also create one of your own beautiful bird creations. One of these, maybe, perhaps, or any other kind of your choosing. Our first step is going to be to outline our birds. Now, I've created some examples here with crayons. You can work in either crayons or a pencil, depending on what you feel comfortable with. And you can pick one of these birds out and draw them your way. And the first step of what we're going to do is outline our birds. So we're going to pick a crayon and then outline our birds. Now here I'm going to show you the 3 steps to drawing our birds. The first step will be to draw out your shapes after you've done your outlines. Now you can do your outline and then your shape, or you can go directly into drawing a shape and filling it in. Then in step 2, we're going to be going to choose our colors, like so here, and then we're going to color in the bird with crayons, with some detail, but not completely filled out. And then in step 3, we're gonna add texture to the bird. And here is what we do for texture. We've added dots here. We filled in the lines on the bird's wings. And we've added some more detail to the tail of the bird, his tail feather. And the way you add texture is like so. So in order to add texture, we have texture examples, which I've actually drawn out for you. Texture is when you have a color that you've used in either a circular motion or side to side or squiggly motion, but you can also add details to a color. So for instance, if you've drawn out your bird like here in red, in a color, then what you would do is add texture like such as these. You can add lines in random lines like this in random directions, or crisscrosses, which are actually an X that you put in a grouping to make sure that the bird has some definition. Or you can use lines like these, they're just straight lines, or lines which are in another shape's form, in another side-to-side motion. Then there's also hatching, which is also important because many people use this for shading. And hashing, you can think of it as a hashtag, like on your phone, for instance. And then another form of texture can be dots. So they can be big dots or small dots. It depends how you want to represent your texture on your bird. Now let's get to drawing a little bit. I've decided that the first bird I'm going to make is going to be drawn out with pencil. Now I'm going to make him in the center of the paper. So I'm going to make his head first, and I'm going to make his body with the wings and the feathers, the tail feather. And this is going to be a very connected bird, so it's easy to follow with this bird. And then we connect him all in one piece like this. And then we're going to give him a beak, and the beak is going to be like this, like he's talking, so it's open. And then I'm going to make him with closed eyes, So his eyes are closed, and that represents a closed eye. And I'm gonna give her or him eyelashes. Now I'm gonna put a crown on this bird because I want to make this bird the centerpiece. And so it's going to have a big crown with some dots on top to represent the crown's top. Now the last thing I want to do is add a wing. So the wing I'm going to draw in a circular motion like this, and then I'm going to make some lines on the inside, like so. And then I'm going to cut it into different pieces to add some definition and some examples of something, you know, like it's like a little bit like a mosaic or a puzzle. And it looks very more appealing to the eye. Now I'm going to give him some little feet like this because he's got little toes. So that's our bird made first with pencil. Now my second bird, I'm going to pick a color. It can be any color really, so I'm going to pick a purple. And it's a violet. And I'm going to make this bird looking probably this way as well. So this bird is going to have a body first, and then a head, and another part of its body, and then its tail, and then a part of a wing. So that's part of its wing on the other side. And then we're going to add another wing on this side. So then I'm going to add an eye, and it's going to have an eyeball. And then I'm going to put the beak as well. I'm going to make it open, and I'm going to add another circle around the eye pupil and eyeball. And that's going to be more of like a mask layer to show an emphasis on that part of the bird's eye. Then I'm going to add this line to its body. And then I'm going to start adding some of its fur definition. Or it doesn't have fur, it's feathers really. So a little bit of feathers. And there we have another bird drawn out. Now I can put in some lines to show that these are the lines of the feathers on the wings. And then I'm going to add some little feet because he has to be standing on something. So that is the bird made in crayon. And then I'm going to add a third bird, and I'm going to make this bird in red. It doesn't matter what you choose really, it's just as long as you like the color that you're choosing. I'm going to start with the beak. It's going to be a closed beak, and I'm going to give him a big eye as well with an eyeball in the center, and then the bird's head. And then I'm going to add, you know, part of the body. And I'm going to add some feathers like that. And then I'm going to make sure that I close this off, and then I add some definition. This is one of the wings, and then this will be the other wing. Now I'm going to make some lines on this bird because I want to color that in different colors. And that's kind of the way that these birds look. And we're going to use many different colors to make this bird very flashy and look very, you know, stand out. So this bird has little feet, and there you have 3 birds. Now, at the end, we're going to add some leaves, but if you want to add them, you know, we're going to color them in and sort and things. So we're going to like add some leaves now. That way we can fill up the paper and know where our block of colors will be. So these are going to be either in green or a type of yellow, and you can make it in brown as well. But we want big old leaves. Now, some other leaves that we're going to add at the end are definitely going to be in a yellow color. So I'm going to pick out some yellow from my box, and I'm going to add some yellow leaves. And that way we change off the colors a little bit, and we have some alternating colors, and it'll look really nice in the end because the leaves in different colors add like a spring autumn feel. So there you go. Now what we're gonna do is start to color in our birds. Now that we've outlined everything here, we're going to color it in. And as you can see from our drawing, we have a bird in pencil. If you prefer to use pencils, that's the only reason why I use pencil, to show you how to start it off. And then 2 birds in colored pencils. Now that we have our outlines, we're going to move on to coloring our birds in. Now to color in these birds, what I've decided to do is choose some colors. And the colors I've picked are black for the eyeball, some purples and magenta, a couple of a green, a peach, some brown, a yellow, a reddish color, and a bluish color. And what we're going to do is color in the birds in different ways first. And then what we're going to do is add texture and definition. So the first color I'm going to choose is going to be blue. And I'm going to start coloring the blue in the feathers. Now, the reasons I did the outlines first is that so that I could draw in to those lines the colors of my choosing. And it's a little faster, and it's much easier to actually color block your drawings first. And with crayons it works well, because then you have many outlines and you can choose where you want to color in your drawing. Now what I'm going to do here is just mute the video and allow you to be able to look at how I decided to design and color in this bird. So I'm not going to be talking while this video goes on, and there will be some music, and then I will join you afterwards to show you how to add texture and how to make more definitions to the birds and finalize the drawing. Now we're at the part of the video where I'm going to show you how to add texture to the birds. Now this is the example that I made to add textures such as lines or spacing or dots with over color. Now that we've colored the birds, we're going to add some different kinds of spacing and lines, and we're going to create a texture over these colors. So I'm going to pick, for example, the green, and I'm going to add over this bird some definition. So I'm going to add some little definition, such as this little mohawk of some sort of feathers. And I'm going to add some texture on the bird's interior spaces where I can. So I'm going to give him some dots. And that's one type of texture that I've showed you. And they can be random, and they don't all have to be going in the same direction. But that makes the bird come out a little more, and it pops out the bird a little bit so that he looks more unique. And in some ways I find more attractive because he's got some textures that are unusual for this type of bird. So I'm going to add some dots here too. And then I'm going to move on to the next bird. And the next bird is going to have something a little different. We're going to maybe use some cross hatching, for instance. And I'm gonna do that on this bird, and I'm gonna pick some of the blue, and I'm going to make some little X's. I don't want to do cross hatching. I've decided I'm gonna make some little X's. So little X's bring out a little bit of, how should I say, you can make it as a little bit of shading of some sort, or a little more definition. So I'm gonna put some here as well. And you can even add a little jewel on the crown, but I'm gonna leave it the way it is. And I'm going to just go over the body part with some X's, and I feel that that is enough. And what you do is you add your texture over color, like I've said before, and that will add more definition. So this bird has a lot going on already, but I mean, I can put little lines and make him look a little more detailed. So I'm gonna pick out a color that's gonna stand out against the brown, and that might be the blue as well. And I can add stronger lines and make them a little longer and make the bird have some texture here. And we don't have to be too crazy over here, but lines going in the same direction always, you know, at random, always add some style. And this bird looks a little better here. And then I think we're done here with the birds. And the only thing that I would do to finish out this drawing is color in the leaves. And you can either color them in, you know, the same color yellow or green that we have going on. For instance, this would be a green and this would be a green. But they don't all have to be the same color green. But I would finish them off, and then I'm going to show them to you. And these would be in yellow, or you can even put an orange if you like that color more. And I'm just showing you where I would place the color. So, and what color it would be, because then I'm going to show you the finished product once I'm done coloring these in. And then you're going to see what this transformation is for this drawing. So I'm done with this drawing, and this design is finalized in the sense that I'm happy with it. And I've added some embellishments for you to see. As you can see, the leaves are all colored in now. And I've added some hearts here for this little guy who's talking. And this bird, the king bird, is singing. And the other bird is, you know, happy with him, so he's sending out some hearts. So I feel that this drawing has enough going on it. And the centerpiece, obviously, are the birds. And you could add, even if you want a little more, some really big flowers. But I'm happy with it the way it is. I've added to the leaves some details as well. As you can see, I've added some stems on the leaves. And I find that that's enough for this drawing. And thank you for joining me today. And I'm really happy that we got to make this pretty drawing. And this is the example that we used in the beginning. As you can see, you embellish it the way you want and make it really, really big. But I'm really happy with the one we made today because it has some movement, and the birds are singing, which is what birds do. And see you next time on Kids Art. So thank you so much for joining me here today in putting together these crayon beautiful birds for our class.